publishing, and they write and co-write with different artists. So that's one way to do it. And then there's every single one, the live music, the promoters, the publishers, they all have contracts. And these contracts, it's really important to understand contracts and to read contracts and to know contracts. And you know, I've seen hundreds of contracts, but I'm not an expert. So if a contract comes across my desk, I have to get a lawyer to look at it. So that's another intermediary. One of the helpers of the artist is a lawyer. Because the higher you go up in the musical food chain, the more the contracts are a little bit longer and a little bit more serious. So having a lawyer as part of that team is a really important thing. And no one will hear about you if your music and the artist doesn't get out there. The news and the story of the artist and their music has to get out there. So that's social media, and that's promotion, and that's marketing. So having somebody that's really good at that is an essential part of the team. And all these people that surround the artist, the booking agent and the manager and the promoter and the lawyer, they make money. They do this professionally. We do this for a living. So the artist has to make sure that money is coming in. And so he needs to get his music out there and the story out there and his photo out there. So that's the job of a social media person and a publicist, a really important role. And then you have things like sponsors, and sponsors could help bring money to the table. And then you have producers and engineers and people that work in the studio. And there's a whole bunch of people that surround the artist. And so we'll be talking about some of those people. And the good thing is, if you want to be in the music industry, to have done those jobs. So there's something called a road manager. A road manager goes on the road with an artist and picks up the money and brings the artist to interviews and things like that. And you have a holistic kind of view of what an artist does on the road, meaning on their tours. So to have a job where you've done all those jobs is really important. So I've been on the road, and I've been doing publishing, and I've booked and I've promoted. I read contracts and all that stuff. So my experience over the course of 30 years is I have a lot of experience, and that's really important to get experience at different parts of the business. So I always suggest people don't just stay with one little role. Figure out what the other roles are and the other jobs are. And you don't have to be an expert, but you need some degree of knowledge of what that task is. And it's always better, like, if an artist needs to do their own publicity, let's say, it's always good when an artist knows how to do publicity. So when they hire a publicist, they know if that publicist is doing a good job or not, because they know the job. So building a team around the artist is really, really important. And that's, you know, in artists, like we have a big band in Boston called Aerosmith. And a good friend of mine was their manager, named Tim Collins. And Tim had lots and lots of people. He had offices full of people that do nothing but work for Aerosmith all day long. U2 has hundreds of people working for them. And that's in the publishing and promoting and radio support and being on the road and lights and sound. These the bigger artists, they have lots and lots of people working with them. And those are all either intermediaries or have some little part and some little role to keep the artist on the road and making money and getting their music out there.
That's very good. And this one going to be, I think it's already half covered in one episode. It's like, let me mark it down. It's 8 minutes.
8 minutes?
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to talk about my artists real quick. So you can, I say, here's some of the artists I work with, and then how, and maybe, yeah, just describe them so you could put, okay?
Let me see. What's the next question?
How to become a performer or musician.
Yep. We can combine some questions into
Let's see. How do you manage? Yeah, because we're gonna talk about the Shen, about talk about Alice, and we put them into this question, into this topic. It's not a question. It's actually. It's
So how to become a performer musician? I could talk about one of the artists that I've worked with here.